Hey guys, AncientGreymon here, and in today's video we are doing another deck profile. Now in today's deck profile we're actually going to be taking a look at the Agumon Bond of Bravery versus the AncientGreymon. Now I actually got a little bit shook there when I read it there because I'm used to seeing Bond of Courage when I'm online, and I've only just realised that it's a BOB and not BOC, which I'm quite used to. But yeah, it's actually a super fantastic card. Yeah, let's take a look at what the list is. Alrighty then, so looking at the actual list, what this list is based on is a mix between the hybrid line in the form of AncientGreymon and the fast, very turbo way of being able to get this Agumon Bond of Courage out. I'm going against the grain and I'm going to just continue to say Bond of Courage. And being able to do a lot of security checks to your opponent, and just being able to put them in a really bad situation very quickly. And because of the promos that we have in the form of the hybrid support for AncientGreymon, you're able to get this out by just skipping levels. And because of the Tamer that just came out in BT6, which works alongside the Bond of Courage, you're actually able to get this out by digivolving on top of a rookie, which is just super cool. So with this AncientGreymon you can digivolve on top of a champion, and with this you can actually digivolve on top of a rookie for the cost of 3, which is just fantastic. So let's start off by so actually something I should mention as well is I'm going a little bit backwards for this list. I think a lot of the list you need to have an understanding of what the megas do in the list before you can actually understand the reasons as to why I'm running certain cards in the list. So we'll start with the AncientGreymon. Now originally this was supposed to be like my, well, if this goes wrong and I can't get into the Bond of Courage, then I guess I'll just go into the AncientGreymon. But with the actual support that this came out in this set in the BT6 format, AncientGreymon's actually just super duper strong. So if you don't know what AncientGreymon does, it's a 12 play cost with a digivolve cost of 5 on top of a level 5, DP power of 13,000, which is nice for a level 6, and it has the effect of, during your turn, for each Digimon card in this Digimon's Digivolution cards with Greymon in its name, other than DoruGreymon, Burning Greymon, or DexDoruGreymon, or hybrid in its form, this Digimon gains security attack +1, so it checks additional security checks on the swing. Super duper nice because you're able to get this out using a promo which is a champion, which is also a hybrid, so you're at least going to usually have security +1 when you're swinging with this, and it just, yeah, it's really darn nice. It also has a really cool on deletion effect of, you may play one red level 4 or lower Digimon card with hybrid in its form from your hand without paying its memory cost. And this just means that once you swung with this, because the promo, which we will take a look at, has the ability of, yes, you can get this out cheap, but you have to destroy it at the end of your turn. Because of that on deletion effect, you're actually able to then replace it with another card, which obviously isn't as powerful as having a 13 base mega on the board, but being able to replace it with another Digimon is just super duper nice, really, as long as you obviously have that hybrid in your hand. So a really nice card. I believe this came out in BT4, and yeah, super duper good card, really. Next up, we'll take a look at a card that has just been rampaging the my locals a little bit. People have been super duper excited about this. I've played a lot of this card with my friend John, which you'll have seen if you've watched the PvPs. But this is Agumon Bond of, well, it says Bravery, but it is very well known as Agumon Bond of Courage. So this is actually a level 7 Digimon. It has a play cost of 14, a digivolve cost of 3, and the DP power of 14,000. It has the when attacking effect of, if you have a Tamer in play, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 13,000 DP or less. Now, we'll take a look at the Tamer that you use to get this out next, but you're usually going to have a Tamer out if you're ever going to get this card out, because it's the Tamer effect that allows you to get this out and digivolve on top of a rookie instead of having to climb all the way up from 2 to 6 to then go into the 7. Now it also has the during your turn effect of, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you can trash the top card of their security stack. So you actually have ways to be able to swing with this. You go at your opponent's security because of the when attacking effect, because you're usually, like I mentioned, going to be having a Tamer out. You can delete something, and then as you're attacking, that once per turn effect will go off, and you can trash the top card of your opponent's security. There is also a Agumon in this list, which will give you an additional security check if you're swinging with the Agumon Bond of Bravery. So that means that you're going to be swinging for 14k plus any inheritable effects on attack, delete something, trash your security, and potentially something with even more plus security checks. And this can happen very, very early on, as you'll see when we go through the list. So very, very nice card and very, very potent. There's quite a few lists with the Bond of Courage that are going around right now. There is pure just Bond of I keep reading the Bond of Bravery and going, why? But yeah, so there's quite a few lists of the Bond of Courage going right now. There's the hybrid form, there's pure Bond of Courage, and then there's a Rookie Rush version of the Bond of Courage. And I'll try and get all three of those lists on the channel. Now, next up is actually our way to be able to get out that Bond of Bravery, Bond of Courage, is the Tamer that came out in BT6. Now, this Tamer is a pretty darn nice Tamer, really. For a 3 play cost, it has the effects of, during your turn, when one of your Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name moved from the breeding area to the battle area, you not only gain 1 memory, but you additionally draw 1 card too. So when you raise an Agumon or a Greymon, you're going to draw a card and gain a memory for each of these you have out. If you're able to get 2 of these out, with the amount of Greymons that you actually have, like I'm running in this list, you're gaining those pluses each time, and it doesn't feel as bad if you are missing your memory tamer. Now, it has a really, really nice main effect too, of once per turn, you can digivolve your Agumon into 1 Agumon Bond of Bravery in your hand for its digivolution costs, ignoring its level. So its digivolution cost is 3, so keep that in mind. You'll want to be on 3 memory when you're going to do this. Now, it has a very steep cost in the form of, if you do, you trash the top 2 cards of your security stack, and then if you have 1 or more security cards, you delete that Digimon at the end of the turn. Now, this is very critical, again, because it means that you're going to be losing this Bond of Bravery. And unlike the AncientGreymon, you don't have that plus effect to be able to replace it with another Digimon's body. But the impact that this card can do, if you can get this out, can be enough to swing the game drastically in your favor. You can go into this, potentially attack one of your opponent's Digimon if you really need to, get that 1 attacking effect to go off as well, to delete another of your opponent's Digimon, and then you can still trash one of your opponent's security, which is just super huge. And again, as I said, it can really balance out the game for you. So yeah, really, really nice Tamer. Definitely run one of those. It has the Tamer effect of play this card without paying its memory cost. I just thought it would be best to look at our other Tamers while we're here, since we've just went over the Tamer, but we are running 2 of the Marcus Daemon. So Marcus Daemon is one that came out again in BT4 alongside that AncientGreymon, and it's been a staple for the Greymon support in red. So it's a 4 play cost Tamer with the start of your turn effect of, if you have 2 or less memory, set your memory to 3, and that's one of the main reasons we're actually running this. Not like obviously the Tamer can work, but if you already have stuff out, you can definitely rely on having that 3 memory available so that you can go into your Bond of Courage, or you can just play obviously your cards, and being able to have that 3 memory means you're not being locked out of the game. Now, it has that during your turn effect as well, of when one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name attacks, other than DoroGreymon, Burning Greymon, or DoroGreymon, you may suspend this Tamer to gain 1 memory. Now, this is actually something that I forget a lot when I'm playing this, and it's actually it can really help you being able to find a way to actually like win the game. Being able to swing with something, gain a memory, and then potentially going into other cards that we've got in the list to finish off the game is very, very nice. So keep that in mind. And like the Tai and like every other Tamer, it has that security effect of you can play this card without paying its memory cost, which is really, really cool. So next up, and a weird one you might think, in this list we're actually running 2 ultimates, and that's the only ultimates that we're actually running in this list. We're running the ultimates in the form of Aldamon, so this is the hybrid ultimate that is like a pseudo mega in a way, because it's an 8 play cost with a 7000 DP base, with a Digivolve cost of 3. It has security attack +1 just built in, which is lovely to see for an ultimate, but it has a really, really cool effect of, during your turn, while this Digimon's Digivolution cards include a Digimon with hybrid in its form, or a red Tamer card, it gets plus 4000 DP. So it becomes 11,000, and it has security attack +1 just built in. If you're in a sticky situation where you aren't able to meet the requirements to get either of these out right now, or you actually want to Digivolve all the way up into the AncientGreymon, then being able to do this with the Aldamon really puts pressure on your opponent. Can really just be super scary because of, again, how fast this can just come out of nowhere. And with it being a hybrid too, it's super, like, it's a really, really good bonus, because it means that with that Ancient, you're able to gain that plus security attack. We have options cards in this list which work with and require you to have a hybrid, and we can put that on this Aldamon, and we will look at that a little bit more. Next up, looking at more of the hybrid support, we've got Agumon. So Agumon is a 5 play cost champion with a DP power of 4000. It has a Digivolve cost of 2 and the when attacking effect of this Digimon can Digivolve into an AncientGreymon in your hand for the memory cost of 2, ignoring its Digivolution requirements, and if it does, you delete this Digimon at the end of the turn. So this is our way of being able to get one of our main megas out. Obviously, I'm struggling to get it out here, here we go. So being able to swing, so this is, remember, when attacking. So you can get this out by turn 1, you can go into this, and then turn 2, you can already be going into AncientGreymon, which is just like scary sometimes to think about, because you can swing with the Agumon, pay the 2, and then Digivolve the AncientGreymon on top. And then because you already have, this is a hybrid, so you're at least getting that plus security attack plus 1 from this. And then because you have to kill it at the end of the turn, to delete it at the end of the turn, you're getting that undeletion effect of the AncientGreymon. Now this is one of our ways to be super fast and just punch your opponent in the face, especially early on, when you can just put your opponent like in a really bad spot where they're like, oh, I was already bricking slightly and now I've just took at least 2 damage. Cry? Yeah. Cry. It also has an inheritable effect of, during your turn, when digivolving one of your Digimon into an AncientGreymon in your hand, yeah, you can reduce its Digivolution cost by 2. So in a normal list where you would run multiple ultimates, this can be really useful because it makes the AncientGreymon a 3 Digivolve cost. And if we went into one of the 2 older ones in the list, it means that we can Digivolve into the AncientGreymon for the cost of 3 instead of 5, which it is for a base, which is actually a really nice inheritable effect. Next up, looking at some really, really cool champions, we've got Greymon. This is another promo Greymon. I meant to say this is another promo. So this is the 5 play cost Greymon. It has 5000 DP, a Digivolve cost of 2, and the during your turn effect of, while this Digimon has an Agumon Digivolution card, it gains security attack plus 1. Now we have really cool inheritable effects in this list that are going to give you plus power, and there are a lot of Agumon, so you're going to get that plus security attack if that's what you want to do, and you can usually swing for at least like 8000 with security attack plus 1, which again, like the Agumon, it just means that you're putting your opponent at a disadvantage because you're swinging with a lot of potential damage very, very fast and very early, making your opponent sweat. So next up, which might be a little bit weird in this list because this list so far has just been complete aggression, is Monochromon. So it's the 1 Digivolve cost blocker. Now in this list, you might think, why are you running the blockers? And the truth is, it's just sometimes they are really useful. Being able to stop your opponent's little pesky rookies from swinging, and just being like a major deterrent from your opponent, like pseudo rookie rushing you when that's not the deck they're using, can come in really, really handy. And especially in this deck where it's a combo deck, you're not going to have a lot of just random resources for removal. You have next to no removal in this list bar some of the options cards, so the Monochromon comes in very helpful. Next up, we have the last of our champions in the form of Agumon. So Agumon is a card that really shocks people at times and they just forget it's a thing, and then ba-bam, there's the game. So Agumon is the 5 play cost champion with the DP power of 5000 and the Digivolve cost of 2. It has the very simple but effective effect of, you may Digivolve this card from your hand onto one of your red Tamers as if the Tamer is a level 3 Digimon. This is very, very potent. It can really, really be that last swing that you need in a lot of red decks, and it just comes in very, very handy. Another fantastic thing about the Agumon is it's also a hybrid, so with that Ancient Grey effect, we can actually bring it out on that undeletion effect, and we can just play this because it's a 4 play cost, not a 4 play cost, it's a level 4, so it's a champion, which is really, really nice. So next up, we'll take a quick look at our rookies, and I'll explain a little bit as to why we're running so many. So first up, we're actually running 4 of the Agumon that came out in the recent Red Gallantmon trial deck, the starter deck, sorry, I'm used to saying trial decks. I've got them here. It just came out in these. Very, very cool, very nice. It has the when attacking inheritable effect of this Digimon attack. When this Digimon attacks a player, it gains plus 2000 DP for the turn. Very, very useful and comes in extremely handy, especially when we're swinging for 13s or 14s, because it makes those numbers 15 or 16. And it just means you have less chance of being destroyed from the likes of an Omnimon. Next up, we have another Agumon, which does a very similar thing, but has a more intense requirement. This is the Promo Agumon, which has the inheritable effect of, during your turn, while this Digimon has Greymon in its name, it gains plus 2000 DP. So this does exactly the same thing as the Agumon, but more specifically, it'll just do it for that AncientGreymon. Makes that AncientGreymon at least 15,000 base, which comes in useful. And then with the likes of our babies, we can make that 16 too, so it's not going to lose again to those Omnimons. Next up, and finishing off our Agumon line, we have the Agumon that came out in BT6. So this, all of them are 3 play cost with a 2000 DP and 0 Digivolve cost, which is really aesthetically pleasing. It has an all turns effect of, once per turn, when you play a Tamer with Tamer in its name, you gain 1 memory, which is super cool because that is the name of the Tamer that we use to be able to go into the Bond of Courage. And it also has the inheritable effect of, while this Digimon is Bond of Courage, it gains security attack +1. And that's the way that I was talking about, you being able to get that security check additionally on this and being able to potentially do 3 damage while also removing a card with your Mega as early as like turn 2, turn 3 if you've had a really strong hand. Yeah, really cool. I wouldn't change a thing about it. I love the fact that we were able to run 4 of these Agumons that have such really cool inheritables to gain the power and also some security like pluses. Next up, we have more of the hybrid support in the form of Flamemons. So first up, we've got the Flamemon that came out in BT4, and if you played AncientGreymon in BT4, you'll know what this does. So it's a 3 play cost with a DP power of 2000 and a Digivolve cost of 0. It has the on-play effect of, you can reveal the top card of your deck and add 1 Digimon card with hybrid in its form and or 1 red Tamer from among them to your hand, and you place the remaining at the bottom of your deck. So this is a really good way for you to be able to search for your ancient stuff. Well, I say your ancient stuff. AncientGreymon isn't actually a hybrid, so you can't search for ancient with it, but you can search for all of the other pieces that you need to be able to go into it, and being able to look for that red Tamer can actually come in really useful to be able to help you fix your combo pieces to get into that bond. Really cool card. And speaking of really cool cards, here's the other Flamemon that came out in BT6. This Flamemon has a 4 play cost with a DP power of 3000 and a Digivolve cost of 0. It has the inheritable effect of, during your turn, while this Digimon has hybrid or 10 warriors in its form or type, it gains piercing. Now, piercing is super critical for AncientGreymon because one of the big downsides of it was simply that it just, like, yes, you can swing for such high numbers, and yes, you can swing for so many, like, security attacks and so many security checks, sorry. But if they have a single blocker, your entire game plan is completely goosed. And if you had the worst nightmare of playing against black blocker when you were using this deck in BT4, you were very in a bad place. But with this piercing effect, it really helps you just to be able to go, I'm doing this, and I'm going full whammy balami. You are taking this damage whether you block or not. Really cool card, and definitely used. It's definitely a combo piece for being able to go burr. Speaking of being able to go burr, here's an options card that actually really helps you do that. Now, alongside the Flamemon, this is another way to deter your opponent from using blockers. So this is Atomic Inferno. So Atomic Inferno is a 1 play cost with the main effect of, 1 of your Digimon with hybrid in its form gain plus 3000 DP, security check +1, and the effect of, during your turn, when this Digimon is blocked, you gain 3 memory. Now, if you haven't been able to get your Flamemon out, or you just want to stick this on a hybrid and be able to give yourself an even stronger sense of survivability while putting even more damage out there, then that just means that, like, this really does hit. But it also has a really cool security effect of, all of your Digimon gain security attack +1. So that means that if you've gone wide, you're in a sticky situation, you've had to go, like, put a few things out there, and you get this can just finish the game. Even if you have like 2 Digimon out there, it means that you're able to swing, for example, with the Greymon champion that we mentioned earlier, but this Greymon, imagine having this out and then you check this, and then this is able to check for like 3 security checks. And especially if you have the inheritables underneath it to give it plus power, it means that it's going to be like a big chunky boy swinging for a big chunky amount of damage, which is what we want to see in red. And next up, finishing the actual main deck, is the brand new options card that's came out for red. Again, in that starter deck, I got it right this time, which is the Aldamon starter deck. We have Atomic Blaster. Atomic Blaster is a 5-cost options card. It has the main effect of choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total DP adds up to 8,000 or less and delete them. Now, this is just fantastic to be able to deal with your opponent's small things on a board. You could deal with a champion and then a rookie as well. I had a game before where I was able to deal with a champion, a 1 DP rookie, and a 2000 DP rookie, and it just felt fantastic to be able to wipe 3 cards with 1 options card. It also has the security effect of activate this card's main effect, which is just beautiful. You want to see that. But it's just a really nice bit to deal with when your opponent... So a lot of the time what your opponents will do is they'll go wide to try and counter the potential damage that you can do. So being able to have something like this to just be able to go, well, that's an awful shame, is really, really cool. So last and not but least, but this is weird for me because that's usually the start of the videos for me, we've just got our babies. We've got the Flamemon that came out in BT6 as an uncommon, and we have Digimon which came out in BT2. So what's that? That might have been BT 1.5? I think it might have been for us over here. Maybe. I don't know, they muddled all the things up when they moved it all over. So Flamemon has the inheritable effect of when this Digimon attacks a player, it gains plus 1000 DP. Really very easy requirement for you to be able to get that nice inheritable effect. We are going to be attacking players. And the Digimon is just another way to be able to gain plus 1000 DP in the requirement of, while there are 5 or more cards in your opponent's trash, this Digimon gains plus 1000 DP. Simple, bread and butter, give a little bit of power, means that you're not going to lose to those Omnimons on the swings. But yeah, that was my first attempt, and I say my first attempt because it's going to be these cards are something that I'm going to be looking at a lot in the BT6 meta. I'm already looking at building a pure AncientGreymon list, and the other 2 Agumon lists that I mentioned being just pure Bond of Bravery or Courage, and then the Rookie Rush version of Bond of Courage, and I'm going to scum ass people and feel terrible for it. Totally terrible for it. But yeah, that's my list. I hope it helps. I hope my explanations of some of the cards have been very useful to you. Thank you again to everybody who's been showing me so much fantastic support. As I mentioned in my last video, I just hit 600 subscribers and I still just can't get over it. It's absolutely amazing to me. Have a fantastic day, and again, thank you.